attention.
This is 3D or 2D.com's Duh 3D Show.
Put on your 3D glasses now.
If you're wondering what the 3D stand for, they are discussion, debate, and the news. We hope that you enjoy the show. Get it? The show?
Duh.
Hello. This is Adolf, and I have with me the Jakes. Welcome to episode 97 of the 3D Show. Say hi, Classic Jake.
Hi.
I say hello, New Jake.
Hello.
So this time we have a few topics to talk about. Not that many, but we got a good amount of stuff to chew over. So I think first and foremost, we are recording this on March 14th, 2021 at approximately 3:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. As usually for news topics like this, things may change by the time this podcast is edited and uploaded onto your server. And we have to say that because, guess what? 1 year anniversary of COVID.
Ooh. A happy Pi Day, though. Yay, Pi.
Yay, Pi.
Pi Day, yeah. But COVID, hell no. COVID can go to hell. So
I've accepted it. I'm fine with it now.
So, yeah, 1 year ago is when it became a pandemic worldwide, I think it was. And then we started to go into lockdowns in America, and all the movies started to get their role moving, and, you know, some of those movies we still have not seen.
Yeah, and we got to see movies get 6, 7 or more date changes.
And some movies had their production go through hell as they're trying to wrap up and finish, and, you know, one person gets sick and then another person gets sick, or they have to do all this extensive testing on set, and it's just become a nightmare to make movies and to release movies. So
yeah, and 3D took a brutal hit.
yeah, it is a real struggle. Just gonna be straight up. It's been hard to continue this website, considering that, hey, are we gonna be able to see any of these movies come out in 3D? Yes or no? And then if it does come out, are we gonna have to drive, you know, hundreds of miles of kilometers to go see a movie? You know, is gonna be problems with theaters not having up to date stuff? You know, some theaters are gonna do it, some theaters are not going to do it. It's been really weird because, you know, Disney, you know, Raya and the Last Dragon came out recently, and Cinemark said no, they were not going to do that because of the licensing, you know, and other movies get that, where it'd be like, nah, we're not going to license that. You know, it's all up in the air. It's been very weird for us to try.
Yeah. Yeah, and where I'm at, I mean, Regal is 90% of the theaters, and Regal's completely shut down in the U.S. and Europe, you know, because Cineworlds is their parent company. And there's talk that they're not coming back. Who knows right now, who knows if that's true or not. All I know is they're starting to open stuff up on the West Coast where I'm at, and not a word out of Regal if they're reopening.
And where I live, you know, there's one of my movie theaters closed down. Period. Like, they're not coming back up at all. And now I have one other option that's 2D only, and the other, you know, to actually see a 3D movie, I have to start driving, you know, a distance. So it's going to be really hard. And certain theater chains are really doing okay. Some are not. Some, you know, it just depends where you are, and you have no guarantee. Even if you do go, it's safe, because right now none of us have the vaccine, right?
Yeah,
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm probably not going to be. I'm not going to be probably, even though I'm immune compromised. I'm still probably not going to be qualify until April.
So hopefully we could get it, but there's no guarantee that if you go to the theaters that someone, you know, theaters claim that they're cleaning up and getting everything ready for us, but I mean, theaters also claim to have the best visuals and audio, and there's definitely
Yeah.
a discrepancy
and
with that. Especially,
There's definitely a discrepancy between claims and actions.
I'm not going to always assume that the theaters are lying, but there's been a lot of times where they're like, "We have the best 3D," and then the projection's not working.
My advice to you is try to find yourself a portable UVC device, and for God's sake, don't point it at your eyes, no matter what, and then sanitize your area in a theater yourself.
Because you don't know if someone went in there and then they sneezed up a storm. People in theory are supposed to wear their masks in the theater. I guess maybe depending where you are, they may do that. They may not. They may take it off once the movie starts. They may have it and not know it. And be asymptomatic, and then you don't know. There's so many options there, and the theaters have really struggled the past year. And, Raya did open, and they opened to a record amount of money, which was like $15 million, which in a normal year, that would be pathetic,
Yeah.
But for COVID times, making 15, 20 million in opening weekend is really good. And, but that's not how, when people made these movies, that's not how they were thinking they're going to make money. They were thinking, oh, we'll make 120 million in the opening weekend,
Exactly.
But it's on the positive swing of more theaters opening and more money, so that's a plus.
Yeah. And then, with people getting their stimulus checks soon, and more vaccines are coming out, and it is, we do see a light at the end of the tunnel. We're also seeing a lot of fools, I think, not thinking that it's over and not taking the precautions they need. And I imagine a big spike coming.
Like Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Arkansas.
And spring break.
Other states.
Spring break Spring break is happening right now in America, and some places next week. Some places was last week. Either way, that's going to help get people,
St. Patrick's Day parades. Yeah, just all that shit.
So it's going to spread. So it's been one hell of a year for 3D fans and movie fans, where basically, I haven't gone to the theaters in exactly a year.
Onward, right?
Onward was the last movie.
Yeah.
I've been blessed.
I'm sitting here staring at my Onward beanie. My purple Onward beanie.
It's mocking you.
Yeah, it's mocking. This will be the last 3D movie you've seen in the theater. Ooh.
I mean, it's a bang, at least. It was a really good movie.
Yeah. I'm just hoping I can bring it back with Godzilla.
I mean, luckily, I've seen more 3D. I mean, not as a whole, but I'm actually able to see 3D movies. It's just a little bit more of a struggle.
Yeah, well, my biggest problem is I'm quarantining with my mom, and she broke her leg. Ow. So I can't leave her, she's elderly, so I couldn't leave her for 8 hours or more. She can't be alone that long. That's what stopped me from making the road trip to Seattle.
I understand.
To see a movie. So, because I can't be away from her that long. She's a lot better now. She can now physically walk with a brace.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're old and break a bone, it's a bitch.
So it's rough. It's rough. I wanted to see Raya and the Last Dragon in 3D, but for me, the closest theater was 220 miles, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to drive 2.5 hours to see a movie, and no guarantee that the 3D in that theater is going to be great.
Or if it's even there, they may have decided, hey, we're not running it in 3D because we didn't sell enough tickets in advance.
Yeah, because you had that problem too, right? Where you actually had tickets to see a movie in 3D, and then the day of, it got canceled or something, right?
Yeah, it's happened to me more than once.
Oh, that really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be super pissed if I drive 3 damn hours, and then, nope.
Yeah, I was pissed, and it was only a 15-minute drive. Oh, if it had been 3 hours, I might be in jail afterwards.
Sir, we still got the movie.
Yeah, because of my reaction.
2D.
Yeah.
That's what your face is going to be, flat.
Yeah, I mean, I might channel my inner Karen.
I want to speak to your manager. Yes, yeah. I need to wear these 3D glasses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the most tragic part is obviously the death toll and the people that have gotten seriously sick from this COVID. There's I don't know exact numbers, but it's over 500,000. 500,000 people have died in less than a year in America from this disease, and it is horrifying to see that number.
Yeah. We've if you remove the War of 1812. The Revolutionary War and the Civil War, we've already lost more people to COVID to all our later wars combined.
Yes.
And it's such a big number. People just kind of phase it out, but you can't phase that out because it is real. Those are real people. These are not hypothetical people. These are real people that lost their brother, their sister, their mom or dad, grandfather, whatever. They lost them. And it's such you can't imagine such a huge amount of number of people that are gone, and some people may have COVID and had COVID for months, if not a whole year, because their immune system is messed up. So this is a really weird virus that impacts you differently, and there's now different strands of it. So we don't know if you got the basic version of COVID or the London version or the African whatever.
Or the new Oregon strain, which is really lethal and really really contagious. So a lot of people out here who were protesting and not wearing masks and being jackasses, they're now finally behaving themselves because even they're starting to see that this shit is real.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, a good majority of the people that get it survive, but a lot of people don't, and it's so heartbreaking. And it just, I don't know how you could just see those numbers and not want to cry.
And some people who get it get permanent lung damage and brain damage, and it really messes them up for life.
And you have no idea. You have no idea how it's going to impact your life, because you have little kids that are like 9 years old that die from it. And you have, senior citizens that are 102 years old get it, and then they're fine. You don't know how it just...
Yeah.
It's so hard to... I mean, then, for us doing a little podcast, what we're going to talk about this week, I don't know. It's so hard to do stuff, and hard to go on, hard to live your life, and, at the very least... most of pop culture has kind of hit a pause, and we don't have the distraction of movies and to really get us out of this mess that we're seeing, and it's just so hard.
Yeah, yeah, we just got memes. That's basically it.
Yeah,
there's definitely good news coming, but it's still, we can't completely get excited. Football fans know you can't be like Leon Lett, go into the end zone because you're gonna get that fumble. Old school Cowboys reference. I know.
Worst team ever.
I thought that was the Falcons or the Baltimore Colts.
So for 2021, we still are, looks like a lot of movies haven't jumped ship yet, that things are going to stick, but we don't know. If there's another huge spike, people may be like, screw this, we're going to move it a couple months. But right now, it looks like everything's sticking. Like nothing's really moving, right?
Despicable, or Minions 2 moved to next year, so that's a 2-year delay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did that, it's not because of COVID, but to earn more money during the summer, because if, the vaccine takes effect, they're saying, well, we're not going to have a clear window of, earning money, so...
Yeah, and Disney shut down Blue Sky Studios.
Yeah, that was a long time coming.
Yeah, but they had a really great movie, which I hope gets picked up and finished in the works.
Robots 2?
Yeah. I'm not sure what it was. A lot of guys. I hadn't kept up with Blue Sky because honestly, when Pixar got rid of John Lasseter for reasons which I'm not gonna hash over here or agree
Yeah.
or disagree because that's not the point. But Blue Sky just picked him right up to run him, and I'm like going, what the hell? But so basically, there's no consequences for actions. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Batman got
so
delayed. We got so Rumble got delayed from 2020 to 2022. So there is definitely some stuff that are not coming this year where they should have come out last year and then they decided not to even try this year. So it's gonna be really weird and how to see everything going on. It's just been one of those things where it's hard to see the scope of everything, and it's also one of those things we're still in the middle of it. We're still in the thick of it. We're the tail end of it, but still,
yeah.
it's going to be hard,
And then,
to see the big
yeah,
picture.
and then so many movies got dumped straight to streaming, but they're not all on one, and they're spread out. So if you want to see them all, you're going to be spending more for streaming services than you ever did for cable.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. So
will Rumble actually get a theatrical release in February 2022, or will it go directly to Paramount Plus? We don't know.
yeah, and if you're a 3D fan, you're doubly screwed because you don't get to because the streaming services don't offer a 3D option.
And Paramount doesn't do 3D Blu-rays anymore.
Yeah, and we just hope that one of their foreign markets, whoever has the rights to, which is basically Germany or India at this point, maybe
Germany.
yeah, and maybe Australia, maybe Japan. You never know. We just hope one of these markets.
Yeah, it's like we got lucky with Gemini, man.
Yeah, because because if you want a copy of Ralph Breaks the Internet, prepare to shell out at least $75 US.
Come on, Stimmy.
Yeah, I'm like going. Do I really want to spend my stimulus check that way?
I might get one. I don't know.
I don't know. It depends. I could see me buying it while drunk surfing.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we're still trying to get the sense of things. We haven't done a 2021 preview because we wanted to give a chance to see how the dust settles before we do a preview and half that information's wrong, But that's coming soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna start working on that because I think for the most part there hasn't been any. Has there been any other delays to 2022? Classic Jake that you've heard of or no?
Not anything more recent than what I've heard months ago. And to be fair, it's just kind of I'm avoiding the news because it's all bad.
Yeah, it's been just kind of a wash. Like Fantastic Beasts was supposed to come out this November, and now it's July of 2022. But I think Fantastic Beasts 3 is going through a lot of crap, not just because of COVID.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly, and Aquaman 2 is going through a whole other set of crap. Some of it related to other crap, but some of it not. And it's like,
But it's starting to film probably in June or July this year, so that's a plus. Get ready for Christmas of next year.
Yeah.
So I guess is I guess the biggest movie. I guess Godzilla is pretty big, but Marvel Cinematic Universe I think is basically going to be a guaranteed movie. Is Black Widow going to come out as expected, or is it going to get delayed or get put on Disney Plus?
I'm thinking they're looking at to see how this. They're waiting to see what the numbers are in New York and California when they open, and if they're not good, expect a delay on Black Widow.
Yeah, either that or the Rhea treatment. Like, hey, premium package, $30, watch it at home.
Yeah, I think they don't want to do that because I'm thinking they don't want to piss off Cinemark any more than they already have.
Cinemark needs to cool down.
Yeah, right now Cinemark is open, and there are more Cinemarks open than anybody else right now.
Yeah, but they're not doing 3D because they're being stupid.
Yeah.
So right now it's scheduled for May 7th, 2021, Black Widow. That seems very plausible still. I think we got to see how if there's another spike and then it ruins everything, which I think it's likely, or if things do calm down for sure, then maybe this summer could be normal or somewhat normal, or not be
We
COVID.
can at least have a new normal.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out, but it's still really it's up in the air. Just watch tomorrow. Something would happen and change, but we don't know for sure. It's a weird
Yeah.
universe we're living in now. So we do got some. You
Yeah.
know,
We're in the shitty time. We're in the shittiest timeline.
so kind of talking about shitty stuff. Batman wrapped production, not because I'm negative toward Batman, but because the star himself got COVID, and then a lot of people on the staff got COVID. So Batman was almost becoming like a cursed movie, the Batman. And it looks like a wrap production, and it's gonna be coming out next year.
Well, they should know.
next March.
They should know. Bats spread COVID.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that
bad. Ooh.
Hey, somebody had to go there.
yeah.
That was our dad joke of the show.
That was some low-hanging fruit there for the bat.
Yeah.
Hey, bats always go for low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
Our comedy will help cure you, hopefully, of your illness. But
Or kill you.
Ba-boots.
so I'm definitely looking forward to the Batman. Are you guys looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Never.
didn't think I didn't think Robert Pattinson could pull it off, but then I seen the trailer. I'm like, oh yeah, that
Yeah.
where he beats down that thug and just like repeatedly punching. I'm like, oh shit, that's brutal. I
Oh.
love it.
Yeah. Oh, they're going there. I love it.
Yes, I like the idea of the suit and the look of the suit, the bat car, like
Hmm.
everything about it. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I love the bat symbol made out of the broken gun. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
And Colin Farrell is unrecognizable as Penguin.
Nice.
And Paul Dano as the Riddler. I'm excited to see where they take that. And Zoe Kravitz as not Wonder Woman, Catwoman.
Woman, yeah.
I just want to see it. Yeah.
So, keeping on with all this, we still got a couple of superhero stories. Going from Batman to Superman, we got some news about a reboot, quote unquote, Superman movie with J.J. Abrams. Now, we're not sure who this Superman will be, if it be Henry Cavill, or if it's going to be a different Superman altogether, or if the reboot is just basically be like, you know what, we're not really going to even try to connect Man of Steel.
And I know a lot of people are very apprehensive because J.J. Abrams did a treatment of Superman that was wildly unpopular. A lot of it having Lex Luthor and Superman being fellow Kryptonians and stuff. So I really hope that J.J. Abrams doesn't recycle his old treatment.
I wonder if he's going to hire Chris Terrio to rewrite the script.
We'll see.
I feel like JJ is so inconsistent with his movies. Like, some parts I love, some parts I hate, some parts I feel like are really contrived. Like, I really don't like that much of Rise of the Skywalker, but I really love Star Trek Beyond, but Star Trek Into Darkness was a failure of ideas, and it's all over the place with him.
If he didn't write the scripts that he directs or just writes it all, yeah, but he's a good director, but whenever he's directing his own material, he gets so full of himself, and it's so annoying.
He just needs somebody he needs an outside editor.
Like, it feels like JJ is like a wannabe.
He's Spielberg light. Almost.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly. And Spielberg, I used to always call Spielberg a Michael Curtiz light, but he's not anymore. He quit being that about 25 years ago.
I'd equate him more of Frank Capra-like, but that's just me.
Well, no, I picked Michael Curtiz because Michael Curtiz was probably the one director in the Hollywood system who could direct a movie in every genre and knock it out of the park.
Yeah, but
And Spielberg can do the same thing. But Spielberg moved on way beyond Curtiz because Curtiz never produced anything. He was just a director.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you guys want Henry Cavill to come back, or do you want it to be a whole new person?
Michael B. Jordan.
If he came back, I would love it. If they decide to go with Michael B. Jordan because that's the current rumor, that could be very interesting.
I always feel bad about Henry Cavill because I feel like of the Superman movies he's been in, he's had like maybe 3 lines in each movie, and it's just like, give him some breathing room.
Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck got shafted in the DC Universe films, even more so than Zack Snyder did.
I think he definitely looks the part. He looks great in the Superman outfit, and I think he just has potential, but they just don't know how to put that on.
He's a tad stiff in some of his line readings, so especially it's the American accent that's kind of hampering him. He's not the greatest, but he does look the part.
Mm-hmm.
I just want a Superman movie where he actually could be both and like actually have full dialogue lines and not just have like one little throwaway line here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now the Michael B. Jordan rumor is interesting. So there has been like a Elseworlds or other parallel universe comics where they have a black Superman. Would this movie be that, or would that be something? It would just be a reboot and have him be black and that's it.
Either, who knows? I mean, a lot of people. Some people are speculating Steel. It'll be the Steel character. I don't know if they would do that because I mean they did a Steel movie. Was it with Shaq? That was pretty terrible.
I mean,
and it was terrible enough though that it might turn people off the concept altogether. But it could be interesting whatever they do. I mean, it's just weird, and I think, and at this point, I think DC's decided to just go with individual movies and not a shared universe. It looks like
because the black Superman is Calvin Ellis, and he is Kal-El, and he just so happens to be black. And DC has had a good tendency of having a multiverse. I think they're succeeding over Marvel, actually. So the CW shows and all that. Mm-hmm. If they do want to have it that way, I think that would be cool. It's if you want to reboot it and have it that way and be completely in that universe, I think people could accept it. But if it's just, oh, he's black now, I think it's going to be really hard for people to accept it. But if they say, this is, I hate to have that caveat, but I'm just thinking it's hard to change a character. But if this is another universe's character and different, this new universe is different, I think people will be accepting of it and be okay with it in theory. But who knows?
Yeah. But I also think there's probably a really good chance it's not going to be Michael B. Jordan because isn't he directing the next Creed movie?
Yeah, but that's supposed to come out next November, so there'll be plenty of time for him to get ready, and he'll still be in shape for Superman when he's doing Creed. So
yeah, but directing is a lot harder of a gig than just showing up to act and hit your lines and hit your spots on the. You have to do all the pre-production. I mean, because the director's pretty much in charge of anything that the producer's not in charge of.
Right.
If they do go for this Calvin Ellis, Superman Earth 23, they could really change it up, the canon, because I kind of feel like a lot of Superman canon has been basically married to the Christopher Reeve Superman, having the crystals for Krypton and having just that mythos stuck with it. And I understand they want to honor it, but at the same time, they need to be able to have that, difference there to make it
Yeah.
unique and make it new.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I think that seeing Krypton, well, they also may want to just do something completely different because there's two things DC keeps showing us: the end of Krypton and the end of the Waynes. And I think we're kind of shell shocked from those.
Yeah. I mean, if this is like super short, like within 10 minutes, end of Krypton, I think that's okay. But if it's like half an hour, 45 minutes, yeah, that's way too much.
Yeah, I don't think we need to see Jor-El pontify again, sending his baby off into a rocket.
But it could be a fun way to change things up and have a lot of different stories. If it's on Earth 23 versus standard Earth,
and they may want to push more the refugee aspect of Superman and more the immigrant, the refugee. Instead of,
if they want to have Elseworlds kind of stuff, there's a lot of fun stuff they could do with Elseworlds and not be connected to other movies. I was a big fan of Red Sun Superman, and I think that would be a fantastic feature-length film.
I would love to have a film with just a Bizarro Superman. That's all I want.
Well,
Bizarro World would be incredible.
Yes.
Just Elseworlds, there's a lot of fun stuff in there that could make things interesting. So I'm not against it. I still fine with Henry Cavill. Just give him a chance to really shine. And if you want to pop up the script, make it more action, sure. But you also there gotta be some love there, and I feel like
well, and if he can't, and if he decides to not do it, or they decide to not do it, this means more Witcher, maybe.
And I feel like Snyder had love for it, but was still constrained with what they had to show. Let's have some new characters, damn it. Let's have, Brainiac. Mexoplex. Let's have some of those Parasite, Metallo. We don't have to always have Zod over and over and over again.
or Lex Luthor over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
New blood.
Heck, you got Brainiac.
Yeah, Brainiac would be great.
Bizarro.
Yeah.
I already said Bizarro, but
I
want Bizarro.
Well, technically we had Bizarro in Superman 3, but it's kind of a weird story.
Yeah. I don't count that, though.
So we'll see what happens if this movie ever gets made. It might be in development hell for years. Now, this next movie is supposed to come out at the end of this year, Spider-Man No Way Home, which is officially the title for the third Spider-Man home movie.
And last one.
And the last one,
And there's that's if these stories are true. At this point, I take everything with a grain of salt, even from official sources, because Forbes is claiming Emily Clark is replacing Amber Heard in Aquaman 2, and everybody else is saying no, that's not true.
Well, okay, let's stick with Spider-Man here. No Way Home is the third movie in this list, and in this movie, and it looks like it's set in Christmas time or holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's been 100 rumors about this movie having multiple Spider-Men from various dimensions, including the various Spider-Men from the past movies, Andrew Garfield and or Tobey Maguire, or both.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other rumors saying that they're not going to be in this movie, so it's kind of all over the place, and I'm just going to let things play off and trust Marvel.
Yeah, and there's rumors that Doctor Strange is going to be in this movie,
which would make sense to explain the multiverse.
Yeah, it's if this is going to be a multiverse, and there's evidence to point to that because we've got the J. Jonah Jameson scene in the last movie, so there is a tie to show feasibility, but just treat all this as We don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't bet on it, and don't depend on it.
Well, Tom Holland's very notorious of not keeping secrets, so I think he's really trying, but it's almost see through that. I think they are because they've been spotted on set. So who really knows? But I think it's like they're going to be in it.
But the thing is, they also film multiple things, so they could be because Raimi's been spotted on the Spider-Man set, so they could be filming stuff for madness.
Yes,
we don't know.
Maybe he's going to be doing scenes. Maybe they're going to have multiple Venoms. Maybe Tom Hardy and the other Venom, Topher Grace, is going to be there. Who really knows?
Who knows? Exactly. We don't know. It's exciting to think about, but don't get yourself so hyped up that you're disappointed because you've created something in your imagination so much greater than anybody could actually do.
I mean, I don't want Topher Grace back, but if he's there, I'm like, hey, that's cool. He's back. But
hey, Topher Grace has turned into a great actor. So is Colin Farrell. I can remember Colin Farrell. Oh my God, I used to have dread seeing him in a movie. Now I get excited.
Daredevil.
Yeah. Now I get excited because he's done so much good work.
Oh yeah. Ever since in Bruges, it's like, okay, he is a really good actor now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like going, I take back every bad thing I've ever said about you. You're awesome.
You've redeemed yourself. I mean, he had a good start, dipped down to a hatred. Now it's like, okay, you need an Oscar now, buddy.
and Topher Grace is on the same track, and he's also been editing some little cool things he puts on the internet too. So he's
the prequel trilogy Star Wars. I think he did that,
and all sorts of cool little things. And he was also really good in that Spike Lee movie where he played David Duke.
Oh, Black Klansman. Yes, he was great in that film.
Yeah, exactly. Knocked it out of the park.
And Andrew Garfield, people really don't like his Spider-Man, but I think he has really proven himself as a good actor. Hacksaw Ridge is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Silence?
Silver Lake. I mean, that movie doesn't live up to its trailer, but he is great in it.
I heard that one's trippy as hell, but yeah, he's a legit good actor.
So, Hacksaw Ridge is super violent, but I mean, it's a great movie.
Yep. Oh, it's a great movie.
So, I'm excited for it. The only thing we know is that from the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, where that Spider-Man's identity is revealed, and, we don't, from Mysterio, now we don't know exactly what has happened since then. We don't know exactly when WandaVision exists in this. I think it's like before Spider-Man Far From Home.
It's definitely before, because it's shortly after the people returned from the blip, snap, or whatever they were calling it in the Marvel universe. And Far From Home is much further down the line, at least 8 months, I would say.
Okay, yeah, a few months after that, so this is relatively soon. We'll see how that all works out, but we don't really know the villain. We don't have a teaser for this. We don't have a trailer for this yet. Hoping soon, but usually by this time we would know. If it's coming out on Christmas, we should probably have a teaser trailer for it, but nothing.
Yeah, I expect it with Black Widow, maybe, if it comes out in May.
Yeah, that's probably Sony's thinking, hey, let Disney handle this, do the heavy lifting for once.
I mean, I want something else besides another Morbius trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is contractually the last Spider-Man movie with Sony and Marvel, the deal they got together with. Now, we'll see what happens, but I think Sony was very happy with Far From Home's box office, and we'll see.
First billion Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are going to go on, whether whether they want to keep going with Tom Holland. I mean, he still looks like he hasn't aged a day, and he's a little short guy. So
I mean, he's the best Spider-Man.
Yeah, he could probably keep playing Spider-Man until his 50s, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have a long career. I hope so. I mean, and not just MCU, but I mean, he's in that movie Terry that just came out on Apple Plus, and he's got Uncharted. I mean, he's just really talented actor.
Yeah, and he was in the current war, and he held his own against guys like Benedict Cumberbatch and Michael Shannon. I mean, that movie was just so Nicholas Hoult. I mean, he's acted with some of these guys in comic book movies, but to see him in a period drama holding his own with them.
I mean, he held his own against the tsunami and the Impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah, this started filming last October, and No Way Home. We got the little teaser, not really a trailer. It's more of a announcement of the title.
I know. Ned lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, so I'm thinking he might becoming Hobgoblin, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Or he might have been one of the rare people in quarantine who lost weight. I mean, so did I, but I'm not jacked. But that's on me.
Yeah. We really don't know who the villain is. I mean, that little video was kind of fun because everyone was speculating, oh, it's got to be Home something, Home this, Home that, and
Home Alone.
Yeah. They had a big whiteboard with all these names on there.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean, my guess was it was going to be Home for the Holidays.
Yeah.
So, No Way Home. I guess that's a fun little speculation thing we could go with. Why he can't go home because his identity is ruined. He can't go home because a villain destroyed it, maybe. He can't go home. There's a lot there you can play with.
Yeah.
I think Happy Hogan may have kept him out.
Yeah.
You can't stay here. I'm begging Aunt May.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know the main villain of this movie yet, right?
Yep.
I mean, there's rumors that Alfred Molina is going to reprise his role as Doc Ock, but I don't know if that means
that would be great.
Doc Ock.
That would be great because I would love to see them take on the Doc Ock dates Aunt May storyline from the comics.
But I don't know about that. But I don't know if that is a fake rumor or if that's actually going to happen or if that's just going to be a fun little, when they visit Toby's universe kind of thing. And then it's not going to be in this universe. I don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
All I know is I want Paul Giamatti back as the Rhino. Not really, but...
No, he got a real short shrift. He deserves a real shot.
That's true. I mean, Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro, so I mean that's 100% confirmed.
Okay, but we don't know exactly what. If it's going to be,
I think he's coming back as Electro.
No, but what that means, we don't know if it's going to be a cameo or because don't you remember all the things about they said in the CW? Like Burt Ward is coming back as Robin, and what was he on? Yeah. He was on screen 15 seconds.
Yeah,
walking a dog. I mean,
but I want to say it's probably going to be more prominent. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, let's hope. But be prepared. Everything. Who knows? I mean, things are just weird. People are basing information on top of speculation.
Yes.
So,
but if they don't do that meme where it's 3 Spider-Men pointing at each other, I'm going to be royally pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see 3 Spider-Mans point at each other too.
It's like, I'm Spider-Man. Who are you? I'm Spider-Man. Who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they could do that with Venom. Is Venom going to be here? Tom Holland or not?
That would be great.
Yeah,
Tom Hardy.
Hardy, yeah.
That'd be awesome. Maybe have
Yeah.
Carnage.
And I'll throw in a little speculation. John Watts has also been tapped to direct Fantastic Four, so we might get some overt references to the Fantastic Four.
Oh, we got to avoid the Baxter Building.
Yeah.
So, okay, are we going to have more recycled villains, or are we going to have other ones we haven't seen before? Like, we've never seen Kraven the Hunter in a movie. I would definitely think that would be interesting.
Yeah. Especially if it's Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Keanu Reeves would make a really good Kraven, too.
No. I don't think
he'd make good. No, if they cast him, they would make him more like John Wick. I mean,
that's another thing. Just
I know Kraven is not John Wick.
Now, Vincent D'Onofrio said that he wants to play the Kingpin again. Absolutely would love that, because in the Netflix show, he was the amazing Kingpin. He was awesome. Loved him in that.
I really enjoyed Michael Clark Duncan's as the Kingpin from Daredevil. That was like the best part of that movie.
Yep, exactly.
But he's passed on, unfortunately. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
You mentioned Hobgoblin. I think that would be interesting to see. I
know this is heresy, but in the comics, I thought Hobgoblin was a better character than the Green Goblin.
We haven't seen this version's Green Goblin before. I don't know if I mean, that would be fun to see him, but...
what about Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin in this one?
No.
So, it's interesting what they can play with here. I'm definitely excited. Spider-Man I definitely have a lot of hope for this movie. We shall see what happens, but there's a lot of ways they could do this. Maybe Sony does actually allow, everyone to play, and it has Morbius in here, and it has Venom in here too, and it just goes hog wild, and who knows?
Maybe the return of Vulture. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of Sinister Six.
Yeah. While we're dreaming, we can say it's the Sinister. Let's have the Sinister Six. Now,
let's have Mr. Negative. Yes.
Yeah, none of this is confirmed. We are speculating. We don't have any inside information. We are speculating. So don't go run off and say you heard on a podcast this is happening. No, you did not.
But didn't you rummage on the set of Spider-Man 3? Didn't you confirm stuff that actually happened?
Oh, hell no. I'm in quarantine in the middle of nowhere.
No, you stuck down in Los Angeles and you went to the Sony lot. You did.
No. You don't have a step uncle from two cousins moved over that works at Marvel?
Yeah, his cousin works the mailroom and got a copy of the script.
When all you did is just follow people on Twitter and put 2 and 2 together and came up with 5.
I mean, Marvel could play with anything and have all these other characters from other stuff, and it doesn't have to be specifically a Spider-Man character villain. It could be, something really out there that we never heard of. I don't know.
Yeah.
So far, the dumbest thing I've heard is somebody in an interview said, well, something happens, and they said thing! They said thing! That means the Fantastic Four! And God, I hope that person was joking.
That's a stretch. They're just grasping at straws for that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I feel like Hawkeye. Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope.
I just want to be like Hawkeye in Age of Ultron, just like, I could have gotten him, like, there's no witnesses, just shoot him with the arrow. Bam, full circle.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Who knows? It might be even Lord Ogre.
Oh,
Or Mung the Inconceivable. I'm just pulling out some really random, deep cut Marvel
Fink Fank
characters.
Boom, or whatever his name is.
Or it could be when Aunt May became the Herald of Galactus, the Golden Glider.
Could
Golden
be Scorpio,
Oldie.
could be Shocker.
Yeah. Oh no, it's Golden Oldie. That was her name. Golden Glider is a Flash villain.
No. Oh, now it's confirmed. DC and Marvel are teaming up to do a movie. See, we heard it here, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna cross over the Aunt May, and Sony's gonna make all those 6 Aunt May movies.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no.
And Aunt May is going to turn out to be Agatha all along.
Oh, God. And she killed Uncle Ben, too.
Yes.
I think we're having too much fun, Adolf. Put us on track.
All right. I gotta rail this back in. Get it all back on the rails. So we mentioned Agatha. That's a good segue to WandaVision. Now, we did a whole podcast about WandaVision for the patrons, of course. We got to make our money. But we do want to give overall thoughts on WandaVision because it is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Overall, I loved it. Classic Jake, overall?
Yep, it was an awesome ride. It's really rewatchable. It's well worth your time, and if that's the only show you watch on Disney Plus, it's worth the investment for a month to see it.
New Jake?
Yeah, same sentiments. I loved it. Didn't quite stick the landing, but overall, it's a great start to Phase 4 and just a great Marvel Cinematic Universe project in general.
So there's definitely some things that but I don't think they're going to connect anything here with this movie. I think there's definitely room to play with stuff with Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, which is coming up soonish.
Yeah.
So there's definitely room to grow. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. There's definitely some things that will happen from that show that will continue on. Now, having the Scarlet Witch being super powerful, I think has a lot of implications. Who knows? Maybe she'll be the villain of Spider-Man No Way Home.
No.
Yeah.
Keep on track.
Yeah, she might be the villain of Doctor Strange too.
She's the real Aunt May. She's dating also Happy Hogan as well.
Yeah.
He's getting around.
So, definitely, something fun there. Now, backing up, so we mentioned some movie theater chains that are struggling and 2020's kind of hurt them in the pandemic. Now, one theater chain that is close to my heart, because I have been to them many times, and I have had many good times with them. Alamo Drafthouse. It looks like they are very struggling and looking for a buyer. Not exactly bankrupt, but maybe close to it. Have you guys experienced Alamo Drafthouse or no?
No.
No, because there was rumors that when Cinnabar went out of business, that they were going to buy them, but Regal swooped in and bought them. So that would have been my one chance of being Alamo coming out here. Because unless Alamo gets out of bankruptcy and whoever buys them decides to buy up Regal's assets, I don't think I'll be seeing one anywhere near me, which is a damn shame, because Alamo Drafthouse has an incredible reputation of a presentation and curation.
So Alamo, for any of y'all listening and as well as y'all here on the podcast, they are very hipster kind of brand, very cool, very young. Like, they would actually show, if you go see a Spider-Man movie there, they would show clips of different Spider-Man stuff from YouTube or TV shows beforehand to kind of get you in the mood for that upcoming movie. And, that's what the previews would be. They would still have the trailers, but instead of having the Coke commercial, or the guess the celebrity, kind of puzzle game, they would have, hey, here's a, fun little clip from this movie or TV show, and they would have all the Alamos that I went to was you go inside and they have food that you order and they come by, and the prices are actually very reasonable, pretty good food at that, and they one Alamo that was near me was 3D, and I did see a few 3D movies there. Every time I would, because they had 3D movies for like $8, and would like,
Oh,
well,
wow.
yeah. My wife and I were like, well, we'll go ahead and buy dinner because, hey, we could afford it. And that way it does it both two birds with one stone, and we'll have a good time watching. We saw Thor, the third one, and we saw Wonder Woman there, the original. So we saw quite a few movies there. Every time I could, I would watch it there. And they also had a policy where if you get too loud, the little button that you could click to help bring a server in could also be used to kick someone out. So, they say you get one warning, and if you're rude and loud, then after that one warning, they'll throw you out, no refund. And basically that meant
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they were serious about that, and they were definitely something that people wouldn't go there if they're savages, because they know they are real, and you'd have a better clientele there, better people there that would not be screaming and have the worst experiences at the movies where you have these people that don't know how to control their kids or talk loud or scream. You know how it is, how bad people,
Teenagers, people on their phones.
yeah, they were very strict about that, and I never really had too many problems with the screens. They had good times for movies. Like, we would be able to go see a movie at 7:30 at night, premiere day before it comes out, and then have dinner, and boom, that's a great time for dinner, great time to see a movie. I could come home, go to sleep, and not be 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was always a big fan of Alamo. They would also have a lot of screenings, so I could see a lot of movies early there. And they had arranged seating. They were a really, really cool place. And if they are gone, it's going to be a big miss for me because I really enjoyed them. One of the Alamos that I did read was closing down is the Alamo that I used to go to several times. And I saw several movies there over the years. So that's really sad. And that basically means that I only have 2 theaters within 15 miles from me.
Oh, Jesus. You need to move closer to town.
I mean, I am in a town. I am in a, not, it's a suburb town, but it's one of those things where one of the 2 theaters closed down and the other one is, a little bit away. So it'll be a real shame, and maybe they get some money, maybe they're able to figure something out. But yeah, they didn't always have 3D, so I didn't go there every time. But if they did, I would support them and give them 3D. And Alamo is always good to me, and they were kind of like what you would want to have in the movie theaters. Like, they would really cool have things where you would have a sing along, where they would pick a movie where they have lyrics and songs, and they would encourage you to sing in the theater, and they would bring in props to help you, and you would just have a big old fun time. And that was a regular thing for them. They would show classic movies. They would show indie movies. Alamo is awesome, and it's sad to see them die.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not gonna die just yet, but if they do, I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody they can resurrect them.
Yeah, I hope whoever buys them keeps them the way they are, and if anything, put some money into them to empower them to be more than to improve themselves.
Yes.
But I just hope they don't buy them and just I hope they don't buy them and then just turn them into an extension of their chain.
Right.
Yeah, like
what Regal did when they bought Cinnabar.
And yet they would actually have alcohol there too, so you could, drink and have food and watch your movie and have a good time, and it was nice. It was definitely a place that I would definitely recommend to people. My experiences with Alamo were great. So that's sad. Now we got one more story here. This one is kind of a silly story. I think it's silly. I'm not a hater of Avatar. Don't get me wrong. I actually really enjoyed the movie, but it just came out, and for some reason in China, and now it's back to being the number one movie of all time, which is just like, what?
I mean, kudos to James Cameron, but
yeah. Well, this was a movie on when China reopened their theaters again. They sent Hollywood a list of reissues that they pre-approved, and Avatar was one of the movies on the pre-approved list. So Disney, hey, it's free money pretty much. So Disney, and they've got Avatar movies to promote, so they went for it. So Zoe Sandala, she wins either way.
She's the real the puppet master. She's pulling the strings.
Yeah, it's a win-win for her.
Yeah.
She's in the two biggest movies of all time.
Yes, she is.
And you wonder if Marvel is going to be like, okay, let's try this again. We re-release Marvel, again, Endgame, but I don't think they will. That's why they re-released it, to get over Avatar, because they wanted to have number one, and, Avatar not having it back. Are they going to try? Is this going to be a game? I mean, Disney doesn't really care. They own both, so...
Yeah.
But China's got all sorts of weird rules about movies, and they keep changing them back and forth about what fictional depiction, things they're like, they don't want religion depicted. They don't want supernatural things or unproven scientific theories. And that changes back and forth what they allow. It must be incredibly frustrating to release a movie in China if you're a Western studio.
Yeah.
So it didn't make like 100 million or something. It just made a couple, and that was enough to push over.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know, which is kind of weird, because Rey and the Last Dragon is kind of not doing that well in Japan. Or China.
It opened up at number 3 at $8 million.
So it's just really weird that, such a small amount of money could push over to be number one again.
Yeah. But it just squeaked over the record, so I knew if Avatar ever got a re-release, it would probably top Endgame.
I mean, I was expecting Avatar to get re-released before Avatar 2 eventually comes out,
Mm-hmm.
Prepare for like a 4K HDR re-release, maybe a glasses-free 3D, maybe, if that ever gets off the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, Avatar 2 is still scheduled for 2022.
Let's see. I don't care if it comes out or not.
Yeah, I'm at this point, if it comes out, okay. If it doesn't, okay. I mean, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I mean, they did say that they were done 100% of production months ago, and then the third one, they filmed 2 and 3 back to back, so they're basically sitting in a vault ready to go, I think.
Yeah, they're just waiting on they're waiting on now if the public will come back to theaters, but I think the public's decided they love streaming.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think theaters will come back. I mean, the box office has started coming back slowly but surely. The Croods 2 is kind of a clear sign of that. So,
and Tom
and Jerry.
What I think is going to happen to theaters is what happened to arcades when gaming consoles hit the market. The shitty ones are going to die a swift death. And the best ones are going to survive, and they're going to change. Because arcades are here. I mean, still. But arcades here are like going to the Alamo Draft House. Full bars, great food, and games. And and games in absolute pristine condition.
Yeah, we got a bar like that where you get a hot dog, but you can also drink and play games for free. So, like they got older arcade stuff, like they got Tron, they got Play Choice 10. It's fun. It's not the nicest place, but yeah, I can see where you're going with the theater thing.
But it's going to be the same thing. I mean, because theaters aren't going to die instantly. It's just basically going to kill the shit ones real fast.
Yeah, most independent ones most likely, which sucks.
Because some of them are the best, but then again, several of the independents may form a mini chain for survival.
Yeah, like team up and hey, or maybe a local chain's like, hey, we're going to acquire you and become even bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
We shall see. We shall see. We're getting closer and closer to the 3D Show 100. So only a couple more episodes before that, and for 100, you're gonna show us video. So you're gonna see us in our glory, and basically what all podcasts do now, which we don't do. But
yeah, so I've got to get a haircut.
You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. Whatever, it is what it is.
But I don't feel like looking like Doc from Back to the Future, or my hair is just so unruly right now.
Get a haircut, you damn hippie.
Yeah. Well, I am in a granola state, that's for sure.
That quinoa ruined y'all.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we'll wrap up this show. I think we had a good amount of conversation and then talk about topics.
A lot of derailing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Harrison Ford running in The Fugitive.
But we did more than once.
So, listeners and or watchers, comment if you can and tell us, who do you want to be Superman? Are you excited to go back to the theaters? Have you gotten your vaccine yet? What are your thoughts on WandaVision? Comment below, and we'll try to read them if there's a lot of comments. Definitely want your interaction. Please like, heart, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever, to help us grow. We're doing what we can to survive in this pandemic, and it's a hard time for us as 3D fans, but we're gonna try and survive. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
If it's not feasible to keep going, then it's not feasible. But we're gonna try. Most other people would have given up by now, and for now, at least, we want to keep going. And hopefully, you can show your support by liking this page and commenting. That does help because people will see it, and that helps morale. And morale is something that we definitely need more of here in 3D or 2D.
Or if your grandfather's brother's sister happens to work at Sony and gets us cool insider tips to Spider-Man 3, let us know at 3dortd.com.
Yeah, you can email us and have an email there. Obviously, we'll have to verify the information somehow.
No, we don't. This is a podcast. No, we don't.
We'll just put a disclaimer on the source of our source here.
Yeah. Some guy we used to know.
Some guy we never met.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess that's it for us. Bye.
All right, bye, everybody.
But wait, there's more.
All right, we are back for more news. And today, for this section of the podcast, I only have Classic Jake with me.
Howdy, folks.
And during the editing process, there's things that happened, and before I edit it, and after I, get to post it. So this is actually a good time where I can add this new section. So, what do you want to talk about first, Jake?
Let's talk about probably the big story for 3D fans. The change in the status of Black Widow and the other Marvel movies.
So this was something that we're kind of thinking was going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because it was still scheduled for early May, and I feel like the pandemic is starting to wind down a little bit, and vaccines are going out in a decent clip in America, but not fantastic. We have reached over 100 million people vaccinated in less than 100 days of President Biden's term, so that's great. But I'm still struggling to get my vaccine. I don't know about you.
I haven't even maybe they're thinking maybe the end of April, beginning of May, I might be able to get one.
So the May date for Black Widow was like, okay, that's still pretty decent. Depending where you are in the United States, things are going to open up, and you could get or anyone could get a vaccine, but they're still going to prioritize certain groups. It just a little bit depending where you are. So I was kind of thinking that maybe they wouldn't change this, but then, more likely, all right, they'll push it back a couple weeks. So we got more than a couple weeks. We got a month and change. So when is Black Widow now released, Jake?
Isn't it just before the 4th of July weekend?
Actually, July 9th.
I don't know why I was thinking it was July 3rd.
So, this basically led to a big chain of events of Disney pushing everything back. So Free Guy coming out August 13th, which I would love that to be 3D. I don't think it will be, but that will
No,
be.
it wasn't. I don't think it was filmed in 3D.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is now going to be September, where it was July 9th.
Yeah, yet another date change.
And The King's Man is now December 22nd. Went from August. So it's been a whole other year being delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kingsman movies, depending where you are in the world, they have been 3D. And not for us, unfortunately, but I think in England, the second one came out in 3D.
Yeah, I haven't seen any home video releases of it in 3D, unfortunately.
Do you like those movies?
Yeah.
I think they're fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Based on a great comic series.
Way better than I thought from the trailers. And so that also pushes another movie, Cruella, which Cruella is gonna. I don't think it's a 3D movie.
I have never seen anything saying it was. But yeah, it's also going day and date. And a premiere. So kids, you want to see Black Widow or Cruella, it's gonna be $30. Unless you're super patient.
So that's an additional part of here. You can't do the premiere. Now, I'm hoping to get the vaccine before July, and I would rather go to the theater than to watch it at home if I have the vaccine, I feel like. What about you?
The way before things shut down completely, the theaters near me were empty enough at certain times, armed with my UVC light. And yes, I'm I'm an idiot, but I'm smart enough to not burn myself or blind myself with one of these lights. I sanitize the hell out of my seat before I sit my little butt down. Okay, not so little butt. Down to watch a movie. 'Cause if I want to see it bad enough, I'll take the precautions to limit my risks.
So, obviously for us, we really can't see any of these movies in 3D at home. legally, that I know of.
Yeah.
So going to the theater is the only way to really do this because, I mean, it may take months, if not if ever, for some of these movies to get a 3D Blu-ray release. Some movies haven't gotten it, and some do, and some are limited, and it's just a whole lot easier for us to watch it in the theater in 3D if it's
Yeah.
nearby.
Since this pandemic has started, I think the only of these movies that have gotten a 3D release has been Trolls 2.
Yeah. No,
I
but
haven't. I don't think Wonder Woman 84 is getting one, but it hasn't come out yet.
so Cruella's May 28th now. What are your thoughts on that? Just to have for sake.
It looked really interesting. Sticking Cruella in kind of a London's 70s punk scene was rather inspired and kind of interesting. Kind of a punk light to Alex Cox's Sid and Nancy movie.
It kind of reminds me of the Joker.
Yeah, kind of.
Um,
And there probably were. Disney sometimes is not the most original studio.
I mean, for the most part, a lot of the Disney live action movies based on their properties have been 3D, such as Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and I guess Cruella is based on 101 Dalmatians. So, in theory, this should be a 3D movie. I don't know for sure. I haven't heard anything about it, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, these days 3D is such an afterthought. It's frustrating for fans of the format because it's like, for something that's a premium charge, you think they would be more wanting to get us to pony up the money and tell us instead of having it a big secret.
Yeah, especially Disney because they make their movies did make the most amount of money. So you would think, yeah, pony it up, give me extra money.
Yeah, especially since they're gonna about to be run by the guy who I think ran the parks into the ground by cutting corners so much. But hey, each their own. But you think he would want to maximize profits, but I don't know. It's just not a good time to be a 3D fan right now.
So back to Black Widow, it's been delayed for a whole year now. That's insane.
Yeah, but it's now coming out day and date, like we said. It's going to be on. You sign up for Disney Plus, and you pay another $30, and there you got your Black Widow. And I'm like, F that. I hope the theaters are open, and I'm hoping it's got 3D.
So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because I imagine that the theaters did protest and we were like, nah, we're not going to watch Raya. We're not going to put up Raya because it wasn't. It had the premiere access, and they were really fighting it. Now, are they going to fight the Disney on this to have Cruella and Black Widow? I kind of imagine that they may pick and choose, and they may say, "All right, we'll do Black Widow, but Cruella, I think they're just pass on, and they're but who knows?"
I think the reason Disney didn't make these announcements at their shareholders meeting they just had a little while back is because they were talking to theater chains and distributors, trying to smooth everything over with percentages and all the other things. So I figure they may all go along more or less. We'll see if they make announcements, because right now they only chain that said anything about anything is Cineworld, and it had nothing to do with Disney. It was all Warner Brothers.
Because Cinemark said no to Raya, right?
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
now I feel like Cruella either is going to be a huge hit or a complete flop. Like, there's no in between.
Yeah, we'll find out if Emma Stone can sell a movie and how much of an interest is in 70s English punk.
It does seem interesting, but at the same time, it's so hard to like a character like Cruella. I mean, the Joker is different, I guess, because he's such a weird kind of character, and maybe they'll do the Joker with this and make the villain into a really interesting and well-developed character that you know could relate to. But I don't relate to someone that wants to skin puppies.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's her one trait: skins puppies.
And I'm one of the people that definitely thinks PETA is crazy, but at the same time, I do kind of think, hey, you don't unless it's between freezing to death, and you should be able to be fine with fake fur. Like, there's no need to kill all these animals for fur unless you absolutely have to, but to survive.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get fake fur. That's fine. And I'm very much for, ethical treatment of animals and treating animals with respect and decency, So it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I love dogs. I don't want to kill them. Or puppies even. It's even worse.
Exactly.
So who knows what Cruella's going to be like. I think it's going to be one of those, like I said, either be a super hit, make $1 billion, and be like, wow, no one expected this movie, and then, or oh yeah, everyone hates that movie, and just completely flops. So,
well, remember, I predicted nothing was going to break $1 billion this year. So let's see if my year prediction holds up. Because I don't even think Black Widow is gonna, or I don't even think Fast 9 is gonna make $1 billion.
So back to Black Widow. It's fascinating to see that they have not decided to put this up on Disney Plus with Premiere Access already. That they really stayed their ground and said, "Nah, we're going to put this in the theaters one way or another eventually." I guess it's that important to the next phase of Marvel movies. I don't know.
Well, with you're talking Shang-Chi?
With Black Widow.
Oh, Black Widow is going for Premiere Access.
No, what I'm saying is I find it interesting that they refused to put that just on Disney Plus. That they couldn't over the last year they didn't say screw it and just put it up on Disney Plus. They've waited this amount of time to have it out.
Money. They got so much money tied up in it. And who knows what the contracts are.
Now, Shang-Chi is interesting too because we haven't seen a little bit of information on that movie. We just, we haven't seen a teaser. We haven't seen anything. And same thing with Eternals. Eternals is now a 2022 movie.
Yeah. And of course, I'm really looking forward to Shang-Chi because I love Tony Leung Chiu-wei. And this will be like his first Western movie, really.
Now, another thing got changed up with a Disney animated movie got basically thrown off from theatrical release and is now only going to be a Disney Plus movie. You hear about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Luca.
And we didn't talk about this earlier. The trailer came out for it. It seemed fine. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. You want to mention what Luca is to the audience?
Yeah, just a Pixar coming-of-age movie about sea monsters.
So the trailer shows it looks like a European or Spanish area, and these kids, these two children that are playing, and then they jump into the water and become mermaids or
Yeah, it looked like a cross between Call Me by Your Name and Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. What's a merman woman? Mermaid human man? I don't know.
It's an aquatic Mediterranean.
It's whatever that creature was from that one movie come out a couple years ago.
The Shape of Water.
All right, they're Atlanteans. There, done.
Okay.
So it looked cute. Surprised that that's not getting a theatrical release anymore. I guess the animated movies are not really going to be a big thing anymore with the Soul now not being getting it. Well, it got a theatrical release in China and it made a good amount of money in China, but.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I imagined Luca might do something similar. It might get a release somewhere. I'm just hoping, unlike Soul, it gets a 3D Blu-ray release. Because as much as I liked Soul, I refuse to absolutely purchase it on home video unless I can have it in 3D.
Now, so are you still excited for Black Widow?
I guess.
I kind of feel like, we said this before, the movie should have come out like 10 years ago. It should have been like phase 2 or phase 1,
Yeah, it should have came out after Iron Man 2.
Yeah. So it's hard to be hyped about it. And, the fact that it took this long to finally do it and people were, it's just like, okay, you really kind of saw some of the unfortunate sexism in Disney, Marvel. They're like, oh, never make money and we can't sell the toys and all that garbage. And now, I mean,
and now Feige's in control of things. It doesn't have to take orders from Mike Putterman. So we'll get better merch.
So I guess it's gonna be there's a big revelation for next phase of Marvel in there, and I have no idea what it could be. I it's one of those things where I think it could have been, before the pandemic, a really solid, $600 million, not $1 billion, just because, we already know what happens to Black Widow eventually in Endgame, but I never imagined it being a huge, huge hit. But now it's hard to, maybe the hype for being delayed for a year might become too big on it,
Well, it also might be people are desperate for content of Marvel variety. I mean, just look at how nuts people went over WandaVision.
Well, I love WandaVision.
I liked it too. In fact, I liked it quite a bit. Even with getting trolled, which I appreciate. I appreciate a good troll when it's harmless fun, because nobody got hurt by the Evan Peters reveal. And Falcon and Winter Soldier shaping up to be good too. Even though I think some fanboys were screaming bloody murder, I think some of it hits too close to home and hit some real life truths that I don't think some people want in their entertainment. But hey,
I really liked it. One episode.
Yeah, and the bank scene. Oh man, was that intense? When he was in the bank getting the loan.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's interesting to see that everything's getting pushed back, and we don't know that much more for scheduling for Marvel if other things got pushed back, but I assume so.
Yeah, and Sony's involved in this too, because far from the movie that we think is called the Spider-Man No Way Home has been pushed back to December.
Yeah, is that still going to be December? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, are they still going to call it No Way Home, or are they going to call it Home for the Holidays? Make it a Christmas movie. I mean, who knows at this point? We're not going to know a lot of stuff until somebody's a real canary in the coal mine, and because so far every movie that's really opened the results have been okay, but because so few things are open and so few people are going to movies, any of the few places that are open, and part of that is that people don't know because there has been no advertising. I mean, where I live, theaters were completely shut down, but they never announced when they let them start opening up. So there's been some indie theaters around here that opened up and they shut down again because literally they had no customers because nobody knew they had opened back up.
So we'll definitely see how everything else wraps up. It's interesting because if Disney's going to do it, I imagine other people are going to maybe move on too. You might get like a whole, I said this before, avalanche that once Disney moves, everything else is going to move to counter and to fill in the gaps and such.
Yeah, I would figure in the next day or two, and you'll probably get an addition to another podcast.
Double edition.
Because you'll hear this and you might know what's happened already. Because I'm thinking tomorrow and the next day we're going to hear from Universal and Paramount, and they're going to respond to this shift. And then, of course, we have the Warner Brother news.
What's the Warner Brother news?
Their day and date that they did this year with HBO Max, they're not continuing it into 2022.
Yeah.
And they're doing some sort of deal with Regal. I don't know if this means their movies are going to be exclusive for 30 days in Regals or what, but we'll find out. I'm sure we'll know more in the next coming days. But Cineworld, which owns Regal and other chains outside the United States, they're opening back up in April, and their first big movie is going to be Godzilla vs. Kong. Let's hope this includes lots of 3D screenings.
Yeah, let's hope. And it's definitely interesting to see how, the backlash between Warner Brothers, and the same time, I imagine a lot of people are really happy with Warner Brothers with HBO Max now because they're like, oh, I don't have to go to the movies, and
yeah,
it just depends. It's going to be really interesting to see how Godzilla vs. Kong does first on the theaters versus if you see a press release from Warner Brothers, biggest HBO Max numbers ever, and the box office is like 2 million or something, or 10 million, that might be a big indicator that, hey, people are staying at home. They're not watching this in the theater. They don't care.
Yeah. I mean, we 3D fanatics still are into theater going. That's because streaming options for 3D are almost non-existent.
At least in the United States.
Yeah, and even places that they have them, they're still pretty minuscule. It's not like there's channels with hundreds and hundreds of 3D movies and TV shows to watch and binge to your heart's content. It's just a couple of pay-per-view titles.
Now, we do got some DC movie news.
I
don't know if you heard about this. So we got Zatanna writer.
Another Warner Brothers announcement.
So
they must be trying to reduce the stock.
The director of Promising Young Woman, which is just became a big hit apparently, and she's going to be doing Zatanna, which absolutely love that idea. Zatanna's a very interesting, fun character, and she definitely deserves her limelight, literally.
Yeah. People forget she's a legacy character, because originally Zatara or Zatan, I cannot remember. He was just another one of those Mandrake the Magician ripoffs in Golden Age comics, who who faded away, and then somebody thought it was a great idea to give him a daughter, and wow, she was a great character design and has become a great character. So I'm really looking forward to there being a Zatanna movie.
She, has been super magical, just in case you don't know anything about her. She's like one of the top tier magical people in DC Comics right now.
Yeah, her magic, she speaks backwards, and she's always been portrayed as a magician, usually in heels and fishnets. And her character, the reason she wore the fishnets is so you wouldn't pay attention to her hands while she was doing a magic trick.
Or she's
always been
a magician, and then both literally and
exactly. Mm-hmm. And lately, she's been kind of on and off girlfriend of Constantine in the comics. Yeah. And she's teamed up with Batman a lot over the years.
Yeah, there's quite a few animated movies with Zatanna, and she's fun in almost all of them. And she's off and on with magic. Like, she actually, will perform at Vegas or something, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I actually am a magician, and I'm like actually legitimately have magic. It's not just an act, but I have do the act for money, Yeah.
And there's lots of great episodes with her and the Batman, animated adventures.
It's actually really funny because, that's how she makes money. And, it's one of those things where, we just had the one episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and like, yeah, isn't there like a money for superheroes? And it's like, no, not really. And it's like, hey, yeah, that's a good idea, because superheroes don't necessarily make a huge amount of money except for Batman and Iron Man, but like people are struggling, and Spider-Man struggles, and it's kind of just a fun little nod that, hey, she has a job, and she it is what it is. You gotta survive.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the new Superman and Lois show on the CW, but there's one thing that's really bugging me about it is that like Superman and Lois don't have jobs that really could support their family. So it's like, yeah, how are you paying for everything? And yeah, Superman's a coach.
That's why they're living on. That's why they're living in Mom's house.
Well, true, but it's just with like. Yeah, but still, groceries, I guess they have savings, but,
Oh, they have a farm, they can grow food.
Yeah, I always wondered, like, Superman, like, grabbing the carbon and making a diamond and selling.
Yeah, and going to the pawn shop and selling it for cash. And it was like going, you can't keep bringing these diamonds in, Clark, because we can't sell them off fast as bring them in. I said, I didn't know the Kent farm had so many diamonds on it.
You just, super speed to other parts of the world. And we're like, oh.
Yeah.
But that's really unethical and not Superman-like. But,
I'm sure he's done it. Like, I'm sure he's flown to China to bring back Dan noodles for Lois for date night.
Other DC news, we got a villain for Shazam 2.
Now
Shazam 2, which is Fury of the Gods, I think it is, right?
Yep, that's the title I've heard.
That Miss Helen Mirren is going to be the villain, Hesperia.
Interesting.
You may know who Hesperia is, listeners. She is a daughter of Atlantis.
And wonder if this is going to tie into Aquaman somehow.
Yeah. At least that's what I saw an article about her being Atlantean. So I definitely think, I dig Momoa's Aquaman, and I think him and Shazam would have great chemistry together.
Yep, exactly. I could just hear him going, my man, to Shazam.
I think that's going to be tons of fun. And then there's now, since a lot of people really seem to love the Snyder Cut, which we will talk about on the show eventually on the podcast. There's more talk about Snyder bringing back the Snyder kind of universe and having Justice League 2 and, maybe actually being Man of Steel and, or going back in there and doing some stuff. So, I mean, you can't have a 4-hour theatrical movie, but, Snyder impressed the hell out of me when it comes to Justice League. So, I'm game.
Look, I think everybody's game except Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers isn't interested right now. Right now, I would just Warner Brothers did this. I'm not, by letting Zack Snyder do this. Not surprised because they have a history of correcting their wrongs in movies, but I'm surprised they did it this quickly. It usually takes a decade or more for them to let a filmmaker fix a movie, like do like The Exorcist or Eyes Wide Shut,
Superman 2,
Blade Runner. I mean, there's lots and lots. At least they do it. I mean, there's some studios, fans have been waiting decades for movies to get corrected. But Warner Brothers has a long history. We could go on and on, whether it's like the Big Sleep, releasing on home video both versions of that. A Star is Born, the George Cukor one from the 50s.
I mean, I will fight anyone that doesn't agree with me that says that a Donner cut is vastly superior to the original Superman 2.
Yep, exactly.
I think the Donner cut, I was again surprised when I watched that, and I was like, hell yeah, I love this. I think this is way better, and it just makes more sense. And, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also like his longer cut for Lethal Weapon.
So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming, and imagine we're gonna have a lot more of these podcasts to talk about because.
Yeah. And I still hope that Warner Brothers sees the light and releases David Ayer's version of Suicide Squad. It would be perfect to promote the new Suicide Squad movie.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And apparently it's already locked and loaded, and they really wouldn't have to spend any money to do it. And all it would be is just making money for them.
We shall see. We shall see how it all works out. It's going to be interesting to see how it just there's so many things that are moving parts to the movie industry right now, and a lot of anxious people that worry that cinema is going to die, and it's right now it's evolving. It's definitely not going to be the same cinema as it was 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 5 years ago.
Heck, it's not even going to be the same as a year ago.
Or 2 years ago.
Things are changing. Nobody knows where it's going to land exactly. Streaming, but then everything's so fragmented in streaming, it now costs more to subscribe to streaming service than to have a cable bill.
Avatar's making in a whole bunch of money right now, being released overseas. Who knows? Maybe Disney be like, screw it, let's push that up. It's done. And maybe we'll get it like in the summer, and it'll be a huge success because people are thirsty for, a big action movie. And who knows? We've been making fun of Avatar 2 for years and be like, that's never coming out. Maybe it does come out. Maybe it does come out and it's a huge hit. Maybe it comes out, gets pushed up to fit the schedule. Who knows? Who knows? We're in a weird time right now.
Yep. And also, right now, China is really the biggest cinema market in the world right now. And that may be the way it is moving forward. So you may start seeing more and more movies pander to the Chinese audience on various levels. I mean, it's not all bad. So don't look at it as me saying, "Oh, woe is cinema." No. It's just a new set of realities, and it can be really good moving forward. I mean, it can be bad, but I don't think it's necessarily bad.
And to wrap this up, let's mention this. It's not an easy topic, but there's been a lot of hate to Asians over the past year because of the coronavirus, and we don't accept that. It's not acceptable to hate. It's completely horrifying to that's not okay. It's not okay to bully. It's not okay to make fun. No, it's not their fault. It's not South Africa's fault. There's a variant there. It's not the UK's fault. There's a variant from there. It's not anyone's fault. A virus will come and wherever it wants to go, and it doesn't matter. And it's not acceptable to bully, harass, assault, and or kill anyone because of their ethnicity, race, creed, religion, sexual orientation, if they're trans, if they're gay, if they're straight, if they're Christian, whatever, Muslim, not acceptable, period.
Yeah. Coexist,
and treat people with respect and dignity and honor, and yeah. I don't know how many Asian people listen to us, but we definitely going to take a stand and say that you can't tolerate this crap.
Exactly. It's not acceptable. Never was, never will be. Stop it.
With that, we'll wrap up this addition to the show. So, a super big episode of the 3D show. And that's it for us. Bye.
Bye.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, we got even more for you. Listeners, viewers, whatever, fans. We got news on Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. Now, this movie got delayed from June 25th to September 17th, 2021. It makes sense to me. I like the idea of having that be a fall movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, opening up just before the spooky season, or the start of the spooky season for some people, because it seems like a movie that kind of the autumn time of year would kind of make you kind of want to go see a symbiote bite heads off and all sorts of gruesome, cool things.
We obviously disagree with our appreciation for the first movie, where I hate the movie and you like it enough, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought Tom Hardy was awesomely over the top, and I can't look at I can't think of lobsters without thinking of this scene in the restaurant.
So, we haven't seen anything about this movie either, so maybe, who knows, maybe they'll have some extra time to put in a cameo from Tom Holland, and, hopefully, maybe? Or
we might find out if the Sonyverse is going to connect or not. I'm thinking maybe not, because if they were going to connect, they'd probably be after Spider-Man, but we'll see. Or it might connect. We'll see. I'm thinking they're kind of shaking the order of these movies from how they originally were going to come out. So I'm guessing the end scenes are going to be shuffled too.
So, kind of speaking of the Sony universe, now we didn't mention this before. I guess it just got lost in the shuffle of stuff. But the Jared Leto Morbius movie is no longer a 2021 movie; it's a 2022 movie now.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like a few of the movies we thought they were going to definitely release this year, they've pushed off to 2022. And that's one of them. And we'll see. I mean, so far the stuff they've released looks interesting, but it's kind of hard. Morbius is a great character. We'll see what they do with it. And Jared Leto is what am I saying? Pretty good. He's a really good actor. I mean, and he got to redeem himself as the Joker for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah, what's amazing about that scene? Him and Ben Affleck were not in the same room when they did that. They were shot separately and composited together. It felt so much they were in each other's face. That was amazing acting and editing.
So it's going to January, the Morbius, And January used to be a dumping ground where nothing good comes out in January. Now, with everything with COVID and movie delays, I don't think that really is going to matter. I think once everything is really, really 100%, back to normal, which should be potentially this summer, I imagine the dates will get cleared up and maybe things will move, not because of COVID, just because they want to, they think a better box office will be, for a certain date and time. Maybe this will get pushed back up. Who knows? It's really, it's in flux, and things are going to... But I think Venom is a smart decision. I don't think that's a good summer movie anyway. So, all right, I guess that's going to be it for this second additional part to the podcast. Bye.
Bye.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, we're back, Jake. Part 4.
Woohoo. Yeah. Yeah, old man Jake is your last fellow podcaster standing in this marathon.
So, we mentioned it before that you're probably going to have more news, and more news popped up. So, we're just going to keep adding to this podcast, and if it becomes a Snyder cut of podcasts and it's like 3 hours long, then so be it. I don't care.
Yeah, if you're exercising on the treadmill while listening to this, you're going to get in shape just on this one listen alone.
All right, so we got 2 topics we're going to talk about in this section. First up is we got some news on Black Adam, and that we have another character reveal to be in that movie, which is that of Pierce Brosnan as the character of Dr. Fate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would say it's pretty obvious they're going with the Kent Nelson version of the character.
Reminding listeners at home or just anyone hearing this who Dr. Fate is.
Yeah, he's a Golden Age DC character who has his helmet and he's and in various incarnations he's either works with, possessed by, or controls Naboo. Because in the comics, he was an archaeologist, kind of an Indiana Jones light type, but a little bit of kind of a sophisticate, because he had his wife Enza, and they lived in a tower in New England, and he was like one of the best Golden Age magic characters.
I'll give you some more. He is a mastery of magic, a spellcaster, superhuman strength, telekinesis, telepathy, teleportation, heating factor, astral projection, and so forth. He's known to be in gold and blue colors, and is basically one of the most powerful magical entities. I say entity because it basically means that like the spirit of a god is inside of a human being, so he has these godlike powers. It's basically the original version. I think this was the inspiration for Doctor Strange, right?
One of them. The big inspiration. Almost all magic characters come from Mandrake the Magician, because he was a wildly popular newspaper strip, and everything from Xantara to Chando, just about every magic character was inspired. Dr. Fate was one of the more, what I would consider, more creative inspirations. For starters, he didn't wear a black tuxedo and a top hat.
And he was part of the original Justice Society of America. So he is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and he's also one of the more interesting characters, because like I said, there's been very many versions of the character. The Golden Age version was, you had Kent Nelson, and then later he was married, had his wife Enza, and they became Dr. Fate together. And all this stuff has been reconned over and over and over again, so your mileage may vary. Now, you've got about 80 years of material to read if you're interested.
Now, he hasn't been in any movies that I know of. live action movies to be specific. He's been in plenty of animated stuff. Now,
and he's been on TV. His helmet has mostly been on TV, and the character has shown up briefly.
Yeah, he was on Smallville, which I actually thought that was a pretty good episode or so. Way back in the day.
And of course he's been the helmet has been on Constantine, Legends of Tomorrow, and
so as to get to the actor himself, Pierce Brosnan. I love Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of the people who was hoping they were going to cast a later version of Fate, but if they're going to go the Kent Nelson route, there's nobody better, I think, for the part than Pierce Brosnan. I mean, I've loved him since Remington Steele. I mean, he's got great comic timing. And Bond, and between Remington Steele and Bond, we know he can handle action. So, he's great. And for people who are concerned about this movie with all being set in the Middle East and not having any that many Middle Eastern actors, there's still plenty of characters that, they haven't cast Black Adam's wife yet and his adopted son. Of course, I imagine the main reason they haven't announced the wife character yet, because in the comics her name is Isis. So I imagine they're wanting to come up with a reasonable change to that, like Legends of Tomorrow did when they featured the character.
So Pierce Brosnan also has been in a lot of executive producing positions since acting, and I liked him as Bond. I'm not gonna say I loved him as Bond, but he was good enough, and I think he's like, after Bond, he's like so much better as an actor.
Oh, he's done. He did the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair, which was wildly successful. He's in Ghost Rider. He's done lots of cool things, and he's done some great work on television, like The Sun. And
so he's an inspired choice. I could not imagine a better person for this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't imagine a better actor to play Kent Nelson than Pierce Brosnan. Oh, he was one of my choices. I was hoping was going to get the part of Cable, because I thought he would have been a good choice too for Deadpool movies.
So that's definitely exciting. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has said, "Such a pleasure to announce a final member of the Justice Society as badass statesman Mr. Pierce Brosnan." So yeah, this is going to be great. I absolutely can't wait for Black Adam. I know there's going to be a trailer out soon, and I think that's going to be super exciting to watch.
I'm glad to see this isn't in like development hell. It's actually progressing and moving forward, because it's been so long. Black Adam was announced before Shazam became a reality, and Shazam they're already working on the second one.
Yeah, and Black Adam is a big character in the Shazam universe, so I wonder how much Black Adam will be in Shazam 2, and how much of him he's not, or if they're going to just give him an inkling, because he really is the arch nemesis, one of the main ones of Shazam.
Yeah, so it was always hilarious, because the Black Adam in the Golden Age, he only appeared once, which I always thought was a shame, because he's one of Otto Binder's best creations in the Captain Marvel / Shazam universe. But when they revived Shazam, they brought him back in force and gave him the Namor personality transplant, and the rest has been history. And it was a great choice, because he's one of the greatest anti-heroes in comics of all time.
So this is definitely exciting news, and we also got a brand new trailer just came out today. So this section of the podcast is being recorded on February 26th, 2021. And it's about... Yeah?
It's not. It's March.
March. Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, this podcast is being recorded on March 26th, 2021 at almost 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Almost. More things may change as we edit and upload this thing. So the other big news was a trailer to Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad. Let me get that right. The Suicide Squad from James Gunn for Warner Brothers. And this, I think, looks awesome.
Yeah, we got a red band trailer for an R-rated movie.
The only not awesome thing about this is that we don't know about 3D.
Yeah, and the way things are going, it could be hit or miss. I guess somebody should maybe James Gunn is hanging around on social media, so give him an ask. He might tell you.
I have, actually, asked him on Twitter. No response yet, but I'm not expecting it, really. But that would be awesome if I got confirmation from him on Twitter.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And this trailer has probably the best use of Steely Dan's music of all time, using their song "Dirty Work," which is absolutely perfection.
And you have Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is a reboot of the Suicide Squad movie that came.
Yeah, but it's not much of a reboot because we still got Amanda Waller and Flag. Of course, we got a whole bunch new characters. Peacemaker, along with his toilet lid helmet, according to Deadshot. Isn't that? Oh, I'm now confused. Who's Idris Elba playing again? Because I keep hearing different names, and now I'm getting confused.
Yeah, I mean, we do got some people reprising their roles. And I think those people are perfectly fine in those roles, so why reprise them? Or why change that? So Harley Quinn is still Margot Robbie, which she owns that character, so I'm totally fine with that.
She's awesome in this trailer.
And Amanda Waller, Viola Davis.
Yeah, she volunteers to go back and go back inside so they can rescue her because she's so touched that they came to rescue her.
Idris Elba is playing Bloodsport.
Ah, okay. A real D-lister, which is why I can't remember his name at all.
Well, that's part of the fun of Suicide Squad comics.
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm. And Peter Capaldi is a comic-accurate version of the Thinker. Why couldn't we have had him in on the Flash TV show? That would have been incredible.
And we got Joy Courtney as reprising his role as Captain Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as always, I have to recycle this joke every time. Boomerangs always come back.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so does a joke. It's the force of nature. It has to be.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then, like you said before, Joel Kinnaman is Rick Flag, which is the same Rick Flag from the 2016 movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm surprised how much hate that movie, this 2016 movie, got. I mean, I definitely think it's flawed, but I actually enjoyed it for what it was.
I really want to see David Ayer's cut, of this. So, release the Ayer's cut, bitches.
And, some fun stuff in here. We got Sylvester Stallone as King Shark, which we actually get to see on screen.
Get to see him in action too, and get to see a real proper head biting scene, and it's R-rated glory.
Now King Shark's really fun because they have actually had him in live action in The Flash, and I actually like the Flash version more than this one. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, believe it or not, the CGI is better on the Flash TV show. for King Shark, but but we don't know if King Shark is going to have more work done on him in the movie, because sometimes trailers have unfinished effects.
And King Shark in the Flash TV show is like actually very scary looking, like pretty badass. Where here he's a lot more rounded and a lot more, I guess like a shark looking. Where King Shark on the Flash has like a pack and is a humanesque. So
yeah, the King Shark here kind of looks more like Bro Shark.
In some ways, it reminds me a little bit of King Shark in the Harley Quinn cartoon.
Exactly.
Which I absolutely fine with, because I actually I dig that show.
Yeah. And I remember all the rumors. I mean, because Ron Funches did the voice on the Harley Quinn show. There was rumors he was going to do it in this show. There was rumors Taika Waititi was going to do it, but Sylvester Stallone is, according to this trailer, he's King Shark, and that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. That King Shark on the Harley Quinn cartoon is so like not at all what you expect him to be, and it's fun.
Yeah. And King Shark here is, in this trailer, it's like everything you've always imagined King Shark. Violent. I mean, he rips a guy in half. And he's constantly eating people.
And then John Cena as Peacemaker. Even in the little clips we got, I love him.
His comic timing is superb. He's proving that Cock Blockers was not a fluke. He's got real comic timing.
And I love the fact that they are being extremely comically accurate to the fault. And I love it. I love it, because it makes it more fun. This is fun.
Yeah, I mean the outfits have been upgraded, because Polka Dot Man originally wore just like a jumper with dots on it and a little kind of hood helmet thing. But this is a modern uptake. But Polka Dot Man's outfit looked amazing.
Yeah, but it still is ridiculous for what it is.
And it's going to be fun speculating on these characters, who's going to die and how, when they're going to die, and who's going to survive.
Oh yeah, and I think it's updated to work, but it's also ridiculous how it is accurate. It's a wonderful balance, I think.
Suicide Squad gets to fight the Justice League's first villain, Starro!
That was completely unexpected to me.
Oh God, I screamed. I was in hysterics, as I love Starro, but I knew we would never ever see anything like Starro in a Zack Snyder Justice League movie. That's just not his style.
So Starro has been in quite a few animated Justice League cartoons and was the original villain that helped bring the Justice League together, right?
Yep.
It's fun because they actually say, "Oh, we got some Kanju shit in here."
I know, treat him like a kaiju is perfect. And Starro, for those that don't know, he can break himself up into little pieces and use those pieces to like grab onto people's body parts, usually their face, but not always, and can mind control them. And
of course, Starro is actually a gigantic space alien starfish.
Yep, with one big eye.
And he has mind controllable powers, biofusion, size alteration. He can make a whole bunch of little ones, and those little ones take control of people. So he's kind of makes into like a virus where he's the originator, but then he can send out his little ones to take mind control and then take over other people as hosts, and they could do a lot of bidding, so that way he could be on his own. But yeah, I never imagined that we would have this character, which is really a wacky character for live action in a movie, and this is awesome.
Yeah, I figured we'd see him on Legends of Tomorrow before we'd ever see him in a theatrical movie,
Yeah.
if ever. So thank you, James Gunn, for giving me Starro. I can die happy.
Well, you gotta watch the movie first.
Yeah, well, if COVID gets me before then, I'll still die happy because I've seen the live action Starro.
So yeah, this looks like a ton of fun. I think this is exactly a fresh breath air kind of thing, and just have fun at the movies kind of movie, and obviously for adults. And I'm glad that they're doing this. James Gunn has gotten some lot of slack, but damn it, he knows how to make fun comic book movies.
I mean, hell, they're even promoting this as from the horribly sick mind of James Gunn. I mean, they've gone all in on the promoting this as a James Gunn film.
And James Gunn, he did, just in case you don't know, the director, Guardian of the Galaxy movies. And I honestly, before they came out, I was completely not thinking it was going to work, but it shut my mouth and it worked. And the second one I feel like is a lesser movie, but it's still enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, I've had faith in James Gunn for a long time as a old Trauma fiend here, so I like his work at Trauma. I liked when he scripted Zack Snyder's zombie movie. That was awesome. James Gunn's worked on the Scooby-Doo films.
And Slither.
I mean, and he's also directed. Yeah, Slither, Super.
Slither is a very underappreciated horror movie that I adore. I have not seen it since 2007 or something, but it oh my god, I loved it.
And Super is really underrated too. I mean, a lot of people unfairly compare it to Kick-Ass. Personally, I think Super's better, but that's me.
So, this is going to be tons of fun, and I'm super excited for this. I really hope it's 3D. I mean, I think that there's going to be R-rated. He knows how to film stuff and make things look cool in 3D based on the two Guardians movies, and I think this could have a lot of potential for 3D. Hopefully it does come out in 3D.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get this in 3D, but the way things are going in this pandemic, I have a feeling I'm hoping against hope.
Yeah, definitely hoping that as things get better, we can get our COVID shots and we can go back to the movie theaters and finally maybe the movies will come back in 3D, but don't know, have no idea. But this looks definitely, I'm excited, you're excited. What else is there to say about Suicide Squad 21? August 6th.
August 6th can't get here soon enough.
So I love the poster too. The poster has a very much a fun look. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen a couple of different posters.
Yeah, they have done a little poster crazy, but there's like the one that it's like a white background and they have all the guys in like a yellow orange in front. It looks very 70s, very grindhouse kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is going to be tons of fun. And as you know, the tagline here says, don't get too attached to anyone.
Yeah, because this is a huge cast. Oh, and it's and one of the vibes I got off of this is most of the people in this, they would rather die than do this.
Yeah. So
yeah, because there's a lot of hilariously funny lines, from eating dicks to wishing to be murdered to don't take coughing with your mouth uncovered as a, don't take this as a invitation to cough with your mouth uncovered.
Oh, I wonder, we're recording this on Friday, so I wonder if people are going to get pissed off about it. But I think they are completely doing this on purpose for COVID and stuff.
course.
And
Of course, it's a COVID joke because they don't want to get because that would suck. You survive Starro but die from COVID. That would be the worst.
yeah, Starro. I'm just in shock. I really am. We saw like a kind of a teaser trailer for this before, but it wasn't really a teaser. It was more like a promotional segment on the movie. So this is actually the first legit trailer. So it looks cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like they decided to delay the trailer from the other for like fandom stuff, so they wanted to get it right, and they knocked it out of the park. So that was a really smart decision because this was a great trailer.
Yeah. It just works. At least for me and for you. What do you guys think? Listening or watching this, does it work for you? Is it too out there? Are you sad that it's not PG-13? Who knows? Tell us below, comment, and say, yeah, definitely. If you want to email us, your responses, you will have the email at the end of the credits, so you could say, but it's also in the info box or description or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And are you gonna try to see this in the theater, or are you gonna subscribe to HBO Max to catch it?
Yeah. August 6th is a long time away, so hopefully a huge part of the...
Yeah, hopefully there's a date change. It's to move it forward, not back. Like it seems like everything else has been for the last year.
Yeah, I imagine this is... I can't imagine this having a different date. Like, it may push it up, like you say, but August 6th is a really good time. So we'll see. But because I know now that Black Widow pushed, I think there's still enough time between this and Black Widow to be fine, and hopefully by August 6th, a good part of the world already has the COVID vaccine, and I can imagine that's probably going to be the case. Hopefully.
Yeah.
And since it's rated R, I imagine vast majority of people that want to see this movie are adults, and they should, have COVID vaccine or already had COVID or whatever. So I think has a lot of potential to be a big hit. We'll see how the R rating hits it, if it's too much for people, but I imagine it's going to be a big hit regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any movie is going to make $1 billion this year, but this and Fast 9 may prove me wrong. We'll see. I mean, I wish great success for every movie, even ones I don't like, because the more successful movies are, the more movies we get, and that's always to me a good thing.
So this is going to be tons of fun, and I love the costumes and how everything just looks fun and goofy.
Oh, it's so bright and airy, and it has a completely different look from Guardians. James Gunn didn't coast. He gave this a separate identity. I mean, it has his typical touches and flourishes and some of his little tropes, but it's all fresh and new. It does not feel recycled at all.
And then Weasel, that looks so crazy, but love it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I about died seeing Thinker, Comet Accurate Thinker. I was about dying. Those light bulbs are coming out of his head. It's Edison bulbs.
Oh, yeah. Thinker, again, a lot of fun Flash characters are here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I'm definitely glad that Warner Brothers is starting to get smart and not get too upset that, oh, you can't have this character in the movie because people are going to get confused because it's in the TV show. Oh, whatever. People are not that dumb.
Whatever. It's a multiverse.
Yeah. All right. Well, this will be it for this last section. Who knows if there'll be more, but that's it for recording of this. Bye.
Bye.
But wait, there's more!
We're back for another section of the everlasting The 3D Show episode 97. I'm with New Jake.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
We're switching back and forth and having the Jakes different times. So we got two topics here we're going to add on to this. So we mentioned this a little bit before, that the Warner Brothers HBO Max 2021 deal was ending, but now we know that Regal and Cinema World have helped to make that new deal where they'll have a 45-day window of theatrical exclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit. I'm reading it over and over again. I'm kind of a little bit confused if that means all Warner Brothers movies are going to be exclusive to Regal and or Cinema World, or if it's going to be that they have a 45-day window where they can't put it on HBO Max.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of vague. Like, I did read a thing about where Regal has a 45-day exclusivity for 2021 releases. So I don't know if that includes Godzilla versus Kong or not, but I assume maybe future Warner Brothers movies are included in that, but not 100% sure.
Because right now, some behind the scenes baseball here. Theaters have to make deals with the different makers of films because they need to have their cut.
Right.
Disney gets X cut, Warner Brothers gets X cut, and they have to make those deals, because if they don't, that's not how they and it just needs to have a contract. So that way they know those movies will get X amount of time in the theaters, and these movies will get X amount of time. And that's what kind of makes things harder for independents, of course. But, they have these sorts of deals anyway, because that's, they want to have insurances. The theater themselves, the cinema theater companies want to have insurances that they can't just watch movies at home, and that's why everyone was pissed off last year, because they were able to see Trolls World Tour. And this year with HBO Max movies, why would some people go to the theater when they could just watch it on HBO Max?
Exactly.
And, obviously the quote-unquote cinema experience is the reason why they would want to watch it there. But I think a lot of people don't give two craps about what the cinema experience is anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like with IMAX, like people were in a tizzy about Justice League being in like not the quite 4:3, but the IMAX ratio on that one, and it's just like it's the theatrical experience, but at home. But it just didn't gel at home. So I guess maybe that's why some people would want to still go out, but can't really go out.
I know it's a lot of it is like film nerds, and you can never experience the same thing at the cinema, and it's like, okay, first of all, you over exaggerate how much of a better experience it is.
Yeah, I mean the popcorn prices, concession prices in general, the long lines, having to sit with people you may or may not like, especially if it's a full cinema, or people you don't know. It's just. Yeah, it's a bit overrated, but I still love going to the theater.
I'm not going to deny I enjoy going to the theater too. But at the same time, I enjoy movies anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's at home. It doesn't matter if it's on my phone. It doesn't matter. I like it. If the story and the characters are enjoyable, I'm going to like it wherever format I watch it on. And, there's going to be some movies where I probably would not have watched it on the theater, but I'll watch it on HBO Max or Netflix or Hulu or whatever,
Right. Yeah, I mean, but a lot of especially Netflix, a lot of the films that they have on there, their quote unquote originals, are just awful. And it's just content.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different conversation, but I think it's also, look, I know some people are like, I live in an apartment and I can't really enjoy a movie, with loud things, or it's not the same putting headphones on and watching it on your tablet or whatever. And I agree, but at the same time,
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a lot of bad experiences in cinemas. So not just because of 3D, but 3D is the main corporate there. I mean,
No.
where cinemas don't do the right thing for 3D, and it's kind of screwed me over. And it's like, okay, well, thanks. I would have just watched it for 2D if I knew it was going to be this bad in 3D. And it's their fault. It's not the fault of the filmmakers. You know.
I mean, the only two bad experiences I've had with a 3D movie, or like in theaters in general, was at a Regal Cinema. So that makes me more hesitant to go see a 2022 release, especially in 3D, if it's going to be exclusive there for next year.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how 2022 and forward. I think 2021 is going to be a transitional year as people, go back into the theaters and start to go back into a somewhat similar lifestyle pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going back exactly to normal. I think we're going into a new normal, and that's just how it is. I think certain things are not going to go back. Period.
Yeah.
So it's just the ebb and flow of cinemas, and I could enjoy movies and enjoy them at home, and I could enjoy movies, and it's different now. It's very different now in 2021 to watch a movie at home than it would be in 1991 or 2001.
Exactly. Yeah, because the best option at home was Laserdisc.
Yeah, and the quality there, the screen technology, the quality of the it was just different. So, I mean, back in 1980s, the biggest screen you could get is a 19-inch screen, which is nothing today,
Right. I mean, that's a TV in a living room or a kitchen. Not even a living room, a kitchen or a bedroom, just it's nothing.
And, really huge screens have become super cheap, and you could get like a really good quality TV for like $2,000. That's like 100 inches and or something, or projector, and you could get a really good quality large display, get quality sound bar, surround sound system for not that much money, where back in the day it would cost you a ton of money. So guess what? Going to theaters was worth it. But now it's like, well, 1080p is pretty good for vast majority of movies and for most people,
Yeah. I mean, 4K is the new normal, the new standard, and I love my 4K TV. I mean, I would love to have a projector, or like a great sound system, but I mean, it does the job. It looks exactly almost like the theater, just shrunk down on a 50-inch display in my apartment. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you don't need the theater as much as you did 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I know some theater chains that still advertise they have a 4K display, and it's like, so what?
Yeah, it's like, okay. The next display thing is either going to be probably laser projection becomes more widespread, or glasses-free 3D. That's going to be probably one or both of the next major revolutions in theater. And then that might get people to go to the cinema. Maybe they'll do a VR headset type deal. Who knows at this point?
I mean, the only real theatrical thing that's left that is exclusive is having that excitement with the audience. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, the first time I watched Avengers Endgame with the audience.
Oh, that was fun.
That was so much fun. And I love the movie.
Was.
Love the movie, but I also love the the experience of being there, with those people.
Oh yeah, because you get to share the same emotions. You get to laugh at the certain parts or feel that just underlying emotion at that scene at that right time, and it's a great communal experience. That's really the only thing that theater has over TV at the moment.
I remember when I watched Star Wars Episode 2. Attack of the Clones. I went to the midnight showing, and everyone there was super excited to see it, and like it just jazzed me up. And then when I watched it again, I was like, "Yeah, this is a not good movie," but the experience was great. And
Uh, I wish my first Star Wars experience was seeing Rise of Skywalker in January of last year in 3D, and I didn't get that energy. It was very, very like just laid back and not really excited at all. I guess because it was January, but it's just people weren't excited for it anymore.
So there's certain things that the theater is not gonna. It's hard to replicate at home. I mean,
Yeah.
how many people really have VR headsets that are gonna watch movies at the same time, the same day? And it's live, actual people, not AI or whatever. So it's different, but still, I think cinemas are gonna have to really make it worth our while, and part of that is having concessions that are affordable and having better quality. I think 8K is actually starting to become something that theaters are starting to do, and it's like,
Yes.
well, 8K is available for people to buy at home, but I mean, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, because there's no media for it unless you got like a YouTube video shot in 8K. But
Yeah,
I mean, it feels like the 1950s when TV took over and theaters were losing ticket sales rapidly. And it's just like, well, we got bigger screens. You can't get that at home, but with at home, you got bigger screens now, and it's just really hard for theaters to compete. Unfortunately,
yeah, and I know for a fact if I watch a, Netflix movie, even the quality, whatever, regardless of the quality, if it's gonna be a really high quality, it's gonna work. It's not gonna have. I don't have problems with, this reel or that reel or this thing. It's always gonna work. Streaming works for me because I have good internet, so it doesn't really matter. So it's
yeah.
it's gonna be a ebb and flow to see how cinemas exist and what will die. Some cinemas will die, and some of them will not continue. I know some of them near me have died, and they're not reopening because they're out of business. So it's
Right.
it's just trying to get a flow of things. Um,
I mean, it's kind of glad around here that it's smaller, I assume, than where you live at. I don't know about Texas all that much, but it's just like there's people who still go to the movies and they just like going to the movies. And most of the theaters around here have stayed open except one, but they said it was just temporary. But it's at a dead mall, so I don't know how temporary that's going to be. That's and probably my favorite theater going to, but who knows if it's going to survive.
yeah, it was just it's just how things go. So the next story we got here is going to be about a Static Shock movie.
I'm very, very, very vaguely familiar with the TV show. I don't know much about it at all. Like, I've never seen the show. I only know it exists.
So, I don't think the character existed before the 1990s cartoon TV show, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, me neither. Like, I don't know. Was it a DC comic book beforehand or what? It's just it existed one day and I never seen it.
Which it stars a electrified hero who happens to be black, and he's like a teenager, and he's trying to be a superhero, and based on the 2000 CW Warner Brothers show, Static. So it's a very beloved character because it was like one of the first. Hey, we're gonna have a new character, and it's gonna be black, and it's gonna be actually really well written and fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it'd be a good show to watch, but at that time, I just grown out of comic book anything at that point, really. Yeah, I just didn't really care, so that's why I never watched it. But I'd like to see a movie or maybe revisit the series at some point.
So, there's making a movie with this, and this movie is gonna be with Michael B. Jordan, and Reginald Hodin are producing it.
Oh, Hudlin, yes, okay.
So they're working on this and writing and directing it. So I think those are really good hands for it.
Yeah, I mean, Michael B. Jordan's directing. He's going to be directing Creed 3 coming out next year, so maybe he'll do it after that. I hope. Who
So
knows?
apparently, it was based on 1993 comic from Milestone Comics,
Never heard of him.
and of course, DC ate it up.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there's very few non-competitors to DC and Marvel out there. So DC ate it up that I know of, and boom, you got a TV show, and beloved TV show at that. And I remember watching some of it. I mean, there's the 90s and 2000s were kind of a really great time for animated cartoons of different superheroes.
Yeah, I miss Freakazoid around that time period, which it kind of sounds like similar to Static Shock, but that was more of just a comedy, not really a comic book hero.
Well, yeah, Freakazoid was more like a PG version of Deadpool.
Oh yeah, it's like non sequitur, breaking the fourth wall. So much good double entendres and stuff, and most of the WB stuff from around that time, like Animaniacs and Freakazoid. It's just all fun, and I think it helped develop my sense of humor. But I kind of regret not seeing Static Shock when it came out.
Yeah, so Static Shock, one of the things that makes him, besides being a teenager and black, he actually like flew, but he flew like with a disc, and like he somehow statically shocked it, and he had the electrical powers, and it's fun. It was a fun thing, but back in the 90s or 2000s, you had the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series, the Teen Titans in early 2000s. You also had Justice League Unlimited, and all those quality stuff, and Batman Beyond in there. So all that.
One I remember is Lunatics, which I'm surprised they haven't made a movie out of that yet.
So yeah, the Static Shock. Definitely interested in that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, will it be part of the DCEU is the real question.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the extended universe, I mean, technically speaking, I haven't seen anything that really disconnects from the Snyderverse. Like, in theory, they don't really connect, but at the same time, they don't have to connect.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't see how they could, they're not completely divorced from it, but they're not completely out of it either. I mean, Harley Quinn is the same Harley Quinn that is going to be in the Suicide Squad, that was in Suicide Squad, that was in...
Oh, that trailer looked great.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's kind of disconnected for me is the Shazam movie. Well, but even though they had Superman, but it wasn't, what's his face, it wasn't Henry Cavill.
Yeah, they weren't able to get him, but I think that's part of the fun of it too, that they didn't have, someone actually show the face, so we didn't know. But I don't see how. I think they could easily retcon some things and change some things up, and it doesn't necessarily break everything,
Right. I'm just excited for the sequel, especially with Helen Mirren being cast as the villain of Shazam 2. So I hope it's going to be good.
All right. I guess that's going to be it for this additional section of this show.
Disney 12.
You're joking, but that's kind of true.
Yeah, that's why I'm laughing.
So, yeah, it was going to be like a 3-hour cut. We'll see.
It's Lord of the Rings podcast edition.
And, I'm trying my best to keep the quality the same each way, but at the same time, I also want to edit this and post this as soon as possible. So I apologize if editing is not that great, because guess what? If it doesn't get edited and posted soon, we're going to just keep adding to this monster, and it's not,
We'll never get episode 98.
It'll be 97.2, 93,
yeah.
94.
It feels like Kingdom Hearts when it's like, okay, Kingdom Hearts 2.8. Then 2.9. It's like, come on, give me 3 already. Then finally got it 15 years later.
All right. I guess that'll be it for us. Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Kano3D, Mr. Bengal 5, and Kevin Winter for your financial support on patreon.com. So that's going to be it for this podcast. Thanks for listening. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Links are in the info box. If you want to send us listener mail, our email address is email3dortwo@gmail.com. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.